Good morning, everyone. I think we will probably let people in about a minute, and as soon as people get in, I think we'll just kick that off. So JR, when people get in, and I will just say very briefly, and then I will just pass this on to you. Happy Tuesday. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kian. I'm Senator Jama, Chief of Staff, and I will help run our event today. I think we'll give people about 1 or 2 more minutes, and we'll just kick off our event today. Good morning, everyone. For those who are joining us, we'll give everyone about a minute or so, and we'll just kick off shortly. All right, I think it's 9:33, so we just kick off right now, and I will let people join as they join us. But good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Day 2 celebration of World Refugee Days this year. Some of you may know we have the Run, Walk, and Play for Refugee yesterday in Salem, Portland, and Beaverton. So hopefully you were able to join us. And today is part 2, which we have an online virtual symposium. My name is Kian Chung. I use him pronouns, and I'm Chief of Staff for Senator Kayse Jama, who's also here in the room. And I will help facilitate our event today. On behalf of our office, the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Advancement and Salem for Refugee, thank you so much again for being here. So with that said, I will just pass this on to my friend JR Lilly to kick us off.
Thank you and good morning. Yat she JR Lilly and Shia, Tachini Nishle, Senjikene Bashachin, Tachini Jashachedoa, Tabahanda Shnella. For those who don't speak Navajo, I just introduced myself in my native tongue, which I said, hello, they call me JR Lilly. I am part of the Red Rent Water people, born for the cliff dwelling people. My mother's father's part of the Red Rent Water people as well. My father's father is part of the Edgewater people. Born and raised in Window Rock, Arizona, capital of the Navajo Nation. Navajo, we call ourselves the Ne. We are the largest Native American tribe in the United States. And like most of us here, I am a visitor to this land. As in my tribe is within the Four Sacred Mountains, which is in the southwest part of the United States. So when I moved here 10 years ago, I immediately recognized that I am a guest on this land. And as part of a paradigm of how we operate in an indigenous worldview, we always acknowledge the host and we acknowledge our role as a guest. And in the ceremonies here, they have a canoe journey where the canoes would all gather together in one place. And as they're journeying along, they would stop, and as they stopped, they would call to the shore, we're tired, we're hungry, we need, rest. Would you allow us to land? And they would not land until the host came out and welcomed them in. And that idea of host and guest is the paradigm. So when we're talking about who knows, whose land knows the footprints. Does the land know your footprints? They know the footprints of the folks who have been here since time immemorial. So we want to always acknowledge that. And I'm going to share this land acknowledgement, which was developed by the Portland Indian Leaders Roundtable in consultation with some of the local tribes. And understand that no land acknowledgement is perfect. We recognize there's some flaws in it, but what we're going to do is we're going to read this together. You can unmute, you can unmute, you can just read it in your heart. But we want to start today off by acknowledging that the Portland metro area rests on the traditional village sites of the Multnomah, the Wasco, the Cowlette, the Clackamas, bands of Chinook, Tualatin, Kalapuya, Malala, and many other tribes who made their homes along the Columbia River, creating communities and summer encampments to harvest and use the plentiful natural resources of the area. Thank you all. We're going to read that, and then final words is I will have our medicine here, which we pray. And Navajos, we have this prayer called the Beauty Way, and beauty translate Hojon. So beauty always be before you, beauty be behind you, beauty be above and below, and every step you take today, let always be finished in beauty. Hojon go hustling, Hojon go hustling, Hojon go hustling, Hojon go hustling. Aho. Thank you all.
Yep. Thank you so much, JR, for helping us understand more. I think I really like what you said is that, you know, like you've done this like many times, but I think it's helpful for all of us to collectively learn and doing this together too. So thank you. And next, I will just pass this on to Senator Kayse Jama.
Thank you, Kian, and good morning, everyone. And thank you, JR, for your wonderful acknowledgement and also your wisdom. Thank you, appreciate that. Well, good morning, everyone, and I'm gonna welcome you to the Refugee Virtual Symposium. As Kian said, yesterday we had 3 events in Salem, Portland, and also Beaverton area. Yesterday was World Refugee Day, and I really acknowledge the resilience of the refugee community who are making home in Oregon and across the country. We are facing really challenging time in our lifetime. There are actually about 84 million people around the world who have been displaced and fled their homes. There are about 26.6 million refugees around the world. And refugee, definition of refugee is someone who is actually fleeing from their country because of war, violence, or persecution, and cross the international border and seek safety for another country. That's the definition of refugee. And I want to acknowledge that because the important is that people are dealing with challenges in as we speak right now, particularly around globally, the Ukraine refugee crisis in Syria, in Somalia, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Sudan, Rohingyas. There are quite a lot of refugees around the world right now, and one of the highest time in our lifetime. So with that said, I want to really welcome you all and encourage you to talk to each other, talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends about the refugee issues and refugee crisis that we're facing, and get to know a refugee also as well. I want to also thank the organizers for the event, both Kian and Office of Refugee Resettlement, Office of Refugee Advancement, as well as the Salem refugees, as well as our settlement agencies, Governor's Office, and many other organizations who participated in this event for the last 2 days. So with that said, I want to also acknowledge some of our elected officials who are here. I can't see everybody, so I'm not going to name everybody, but I want you to know that we know you, we see you, and thank you so much for joining with us for everybody. Kian, kick us off.
Yep, thank you. Thank you so much, Senator Jama. And the next guest that we have with us today is the new Director of Office of Immigrant and Refugee Advancement. As some of you may remember, in the 2021 session, the legislature passed Senate Bill 778 to create Office of Immigrant Refugee Advancement. And just in recent March, Governor Cabral just appointed Talk as our new director. So Talk, we would love to hear a few wisdom from you if you can take the mic over.
Yes, Abidi, everybody. Good morning. Thank you, Kian. Thank you to Senator Jama as well for this invitation. A few wisdom, huh? I don't know if I have wisdom. I do have quite a bit of gratitude for just folks on this call, for joining in today, taking the time to be here. I know World Refugee Day was yesterday, but for you to show up on day 2 to to continue the momentum. It means a lot. As Ken said, my name is Tak Sonole Gillespie. What I often say is, more importantly, I am the daughter and legacy of Puwong and Solidid. I actually show up here with my ancestors. As you said, JR, we are guests on these sacred and stolen lands. Ken said, I was recently appointed. Yes, I also see that as a privilege to be serving in this role. For those who may not know, it was created by Senator Jama. That's his vision, his leadership, and I am here today because of that. And of course, thank you to the legislature who said yes to this really, I want to say, momentous, remarkable achievement here in our state to create an office such as the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Advancement. For those who also may not know, the goal is really to track legislation, advocate for federal resources, monitor the state and local investments, coordinate strategies, convene stakeholders, and provide policy support for immigrant and refugee communities across the state. And to be able to have been a part of helping to coordinate World Refugee Day, the walk yesterday was really emotional for me. For those who were there, I want to thank you so much. You all saw that I had an ugly cry in the Portland walk and in the Salem walk, just to see how supportive our community is, regardless of what's happening at the national level and globally. I just feel like Oregon continues to show up, and it's hard not to get emotional when you see people show up physically, show up financially, show up virtually. And even if you're at home, just thinking about how do you show up to help support people who are fleeing war and persecution, it means a lot. So thank you. And I'll leave you with just another gratitude, because I don't think there's enough gratitudes that one can do and offer. And this day for me is also about celebrating the people who do show up. You know, refugees sacrifice quite a bit. There's also a lot of triumph, but many of us make it here because of the support system. And when we see people show up in this way, it really gives you momentum and strength to continue to move forward and make sure that others who are hoping, you know, to find safety and protection get that. So, khop chai lalai, everybody, for being here.
Thank you so much, Director. And next, I guess we have a representative from the USCIS here, and I think I know that Quinn would love to share a little more about all the effort that the office has been doing recently, as long as some data on the newly naturalized citizen here in Oregon.
Thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you for the opportunity to be present with the community and to talk to you. I appreciate these chances to give you the opportunity to tell me things so that I can take your voice back into the government agencies. We don't have very many avenues for that. So I encourage you, all of you, to reach out to me. My contact information is in the roster of this call, and you're welcome to use it. I hope that you will. I want to be brief. This morning, I want to promote citizenship. I understand that as refugees, people are often thrust into the current and carried along with it. But once they've arrived someplace and they've established themselves, it's important to be strategic again. And one of the things that you can do to become a more active member of your community and to wield your influence is to become a US citizen. If you have a path to citizenship or you know someone who does, we're encouraging you to take that step. My agency is actively promoting citizenship right now and making it a priority. It's a thread that connects all Americans. You know, we aren't defined by our ethnicities or our religions. We're defined by our shared values and the documents that describe that. Throughout our history, the US has always welcomed newcomers from all over the world, and I never want to see that stop. The US is indeed a nation of immigrants, and we should never forget it. For immigrants who are able to pursue citizenship, they will find it has many benefits and equally important responsibilities. Consider these reasons for citizenship. Only citizens can vote in federal elections. Most states also restrict the right to vote in most elections to US citizens. It's more important than ever that every person who can exercise this vital right. Only US citizens can serve on a federal jury. Most states also restrict jury service to US citizens. US citizenship comes with a US passport and enables you to get assistance from the United States government when overseas if necessary. Most US embassies and consulates have a robust section that just serves US citizens who are abroad, and that includes filing documents like Social Security, voting overseas, all kinds of things that you would normally not expect. US citizens get priority generally when bringing family members to the United States. When they petition to bring parents or children, those categories absolutely get priority for US citizens. In many cases, a child born abroad to a US citizen may automatically acquire US citizenship when their parent naturalizes. Federal jobs. Certain jobs with the government agencies require US citizens. As a US citizen, you can also become an elected official, as someone on the call absolutely knows. Probably several people. Only citizens can run for federal offices like the US Senate or the House of Representatives, and for many state and local offices as well. Citizenship can ensure that you keep your residency. A US citizen's right to remain in the United States cannot be taken away. A citizen can also be eligible for federal grants and scholarships. Many financial aid grants, including college scholarships and funds given by the government for specific purposes, are available only to US citizens. Yesterday, I looked up how many immigrants in Oregon are currently eligible to naturalize. That means they have legal permanent resident status, a green card, and they've held it for at least 5 years. Individual circumstances might keep a person from naturalizing, but as an unfiltered data set, there are 60,000 immigrants in Oregon ready to naturalize. I want to talk to those people. I want to encourage them to take that step if they choose it and become a US citizen. Please invite me to your events, to your schools, to your local community. I will give an overview of citizenship to 2 people or to 200 and show you how the permanent resident can start that process. And that's exactly what I wanted to share with you today, although there are so many immigration topics that I could talk to and describe for you and bring you the government information that's available on. Thank you and enjoy this special day.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Quinn, for being here with us today. Everyone, we have 2 more guests, which is our US Senator, Senator Ron Wyden and Senator Jeff Merkley. Unfortunately, they cannot be here with us today, but they did send over some video that they would love me to play. So bear with me and I will play them right now.
Ken, we cannot hear.
Oh, you cannot hear at all, Senator Jama?
I don't know if it's only me, but I could hear.
Oh, so no one can hear. Yeah, we were doing a test run right before this and it's worked. So let me try the second video and see if it's working or not. Oh, yeah, okay, let me try one more time.
organizing this incredible event. Like many in the room, World Refugee Day. Ron Wyden here to join all of you in recognition of World Refugee Day. Before I get started, I want to thank Senator Jama for organizing this incredible event. Like many in the room, World Refugee Day is personal. My family fled the Nazis. Both my mom and dad are clear examples of millions of immigrants and refugees who've come to the United States to build better lives and manage to build a stronger nation in the process. As Oregon's US Senator, I've long supported refugee resettlement efforts so more individuals have the chance to seek refuge in the United States, like my family did. It's with them in mind I have long fought to improve the system, from urging the increase of the refugee camp, calling for the abolition of Title 42, and voting for more assistance for resettlement and foreign aid. We need a system that actually meets the needs of the growing US economy, our nation's security, and that of families striving to lead better, safer lives. There's lots to do, but as the son of immigrants, I'll continue to fight so that immigrants and refugees are welcome and supported here. Thank you. I look forward to seeing all of you in the days ahead.
And we have one more from Senator Merkley that I will play right now.
Greetings, Senator Jeff Merkley here. And this World Refugee Day, as war rages across Ukraine with thousands fleeing for their lives, and countless families across the world are seeking safety from violence, persecution, and famine, it's more important than ever that we join together to recognize and support all those who have been forced from their homes and the lives they've known. We must recommit ourselves to the fundamental notion that we are a global community and that what happens to any of us impacts all of us. Over 70 years ago, it was that notion that brought the nations of the world together to create the United Nations Convention on Refugees, a groundbreaking treaty that defines in international law what it means to be a refugee, and it enshrines their most basic human rights. The United States led the way in crafting that document, because from our earliest days, ever since George Washington declared that America is, quote, open to receive not only the opulent, respectable stranger, but the oppressed and persecuted of all nations and religions. Protecting the rights of those seeking safety and security has been central to who we are as a country. It's why Lady Liberty holds her torch up high, lighting the world for the world's tired, poor, huddled masses yearning to breathe free. And it's why last year, more than 76,000 Afghan men, women, and children fled here to the United States, seeking safety and security as the Taliban took over their country. They did so because they feared for their lives and the lives of their loved ones, knowing full well what would await them once the Taliban took control. Just as those fleeing Ukraine feel for their lives, knowing full well the inhuman war crimes Russia is carrying out against civilians. Sometimes these folks fleeing for their lives are able to get out on their own. Other times they need help. I'm proud that over the years, members of my team have played significant roles in helping to get people to safety. Last year, as the Taliban closed in on Kabul, for instance, a young woman who was a PhD student in an Oregon State University program reached out to State Senator Jama's office looking for help. As a high-profile feminist who was associated with the United States through her education and her work with several US and UN organizations, this woman feared for her life, and rightly so, having survived 2 assassination attempts. On top of that, her family had been captured, tortured, and told that the Taliban would, quote, teach her a lesson she would never forget if she were captured. Oregon State Senator Jama brought this woman's plight to our attention, and we were able to get her flagged for the State Department and onto an evacuation flight out of Kabul last August. And I'm thrilled to say that she not only connected with family here in the States, but is back at Oregon State working towards her PhD in women, gender, and sexuality studies while serving as a teaching assistant. It's clear from that story and so many others just like it that no one can do this alone. Helping those in need take coordination and teamwork at every level, the federal level, the state level, the local level. It involves phone calls from family members, the intervention of elected officials and their staffs, the involvement of the State Department and other agencies. And then that teamwork has to continue once those refugees get to the United States and make their work to Oregon. Because their stories don't end once they make it to our shores. That's just the beginning of the new chapter of their life. They need help getting adjusted, navigating what's legally required, dealing with trauma, and accessing the tools and opportunities necessary to start those new chapters. In the Senate, especially as a member of the Appropriations Committee, I've worked hard to support refugee resettlement programs that help provide families and folks on the ground the resources they need, including the $7 billion for Afghan refugee resettlement that was in the short-term funding bill that Congress passed and President Biden signed last December, and the billions of dollars that were included for refugees in last month's Ukraine supplemental bill. But as that Oregon State student's story shows, my team and I aren't just focused on putting money into programs. We're ready and available to work with local leaders and advocates to do everything we can to help those fleeing violence and persecution, to help them before they get to this country and to help them once they arrive. Because that's what we have done, and it's what we ought to always do as a nation. Be a beacon of hope for those in trouble across the world. So this World Refugee Day, let's all recommit ourselves to doing everything in our power to help those in need around the world, whether fleeing war crimes in Ukraine or persecution in Afghanistan or drug cartels south of our border or genocide in Burma or Xinjiang province in China. We have a responsibility to one another, and we must work together to live up to that responsibility and hold high the torch of liberty and freedom here in the United States of America.
Yes, and that is for our program for the opening remarks today. So I think like right now, I will just go over the agenda for the day. As some of you may notice, we have a packed agenda today with 5 different workshops. The first one will be at 10:15. I'm just put the agenda in the chat for everyone to see right now. So we have 5 workshops today. Each of them will have 10 minutes break in between. All of them will use this sampling. So I know some of you may want to participate in multiple sessions. This will be the sampling. You may either hop off and hop back on later, or just turn off your video, or do whatever you prefer at your comfort level. And I hope that everyone will take the advantage of the workshop today and ask questions to all the panelists. I want to note that after this event, the organizing team, we will send all of the presentation slide that was available today to everyone, along with the contact info of the panelists in case you want to ask questions. But yeah, so that's really it for our event today. The first workshop will start at 10:15. And since we have a few extra minutes, I also want to open the floor to everyone. If you have any question about the event, or if you want to say any words as we celebrate World Refugee Day yesterday and today. Anyone?
I do see earlier Senator Wagner, our majority leader, is still in the room.
Senator Wagner.
Oh, great. Call me out after I took the dogs for a walk and I haven't come back and gotten cleaned up. Thanks a lot, Senator. I really appreciate it. No, I want to just say thank you. What an honor it's been to be able to co-sponsor legislation. I know we're just getting going. I talk to Senator Jama all the time about the legislative involvement in this effort and how excited I am future forward here. And Kian, thank you for all the great work you've done to pull this together. It's just fantastic. I look forward to being to listening in and being a participant in the conversation where I can be.
Thank you, Senator Wagner. Senator Wagner was a partner for creation of the Office of Immigrant Refugee Advancement. Thank you so much, and many other issues that we work in our office. So thank you so much for your partnership. And I echo with what he said. Kian, those of us, know that Kian is really work hard on this issue and many other issues in our community. So we acknowledge your contribution and thank you so much all you do for Oregon as well.
Thank you, Senator. Yeah, I'm humble, but I also want to mention that this work cannot happen with, Luke and Talk and everyone else who help, and Mikal who make this event happen. So, yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Anyone else who have any questions or want to add anything?
Happy to be here.
Thank you, Leila.
Yeah, I just want to echo the sentiments that were already expressed that, these are the issues that are pressing our community, and it's not just the refugee crisis that we see on the news. It's the one in Somalia, it's the one in, on our southern border. And so it's the one in Haiti, it's the one, and so just uplifting all of the refugees that are, trying to come here for a better life. As a daughter of immigrants, I know what that means, and I know it's not easy. And so I'm just thankful for the work that Senator Jama does and the work that you all do to ensure that not only is Oregon a safe harbor, but it is a place that people can really live what they believe the American dream is. And so just continuously grateful for you, Senator Jama, and your entire team. And this is Senator Lawrence Spence.
Thank you, Senator Lawrence Spence. Sorry, that's why I was saying earlier I shouldn't be calling people out because I haven't seen your name appear in my screen, but now I see you. So thank you so much for your contribution and your hard work also as well in Oregon Senate and our partnership as well.
Yeah. Awesome. With that said, I think I will be here. I will probably turn off my video, but if you have any question, please put them in the chat and we will get back to you. But yeah, with that said, our first session will begin at 10:15 in the assembling. Thank you so much, everyone.